Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into Key Time Sports. It's Key Time coming back to talk about the Week 15 slate of the NFL and everything I've seen. But first, what I want you to do is please click that like, share, subscribe button on Key Time Sports, and please follow Key City Sports on TikTok. Now, let's get to the situation at hand when it comes to the NFL week 15 in the NFL. There was a lot that happened in week 15 of the NFL, and the very first game was the Rams. Excuse me for a minute. We have a few technical difficulties. If you could please stand by for a few seconds. Okay. Okay, yeah, now we got it up. Okay, now we got it up. The first game of week 15 of the NFL slate happened in San Francisco between the Rams and the 49ers. The game was fast. It was basically no defense. Well, little to no defense. I want to say that this was good defense, but at the end of the day, I think I'm going to say that this is just bad offense because you see right here, Brock Purdy, 14 of 31, 142 yards. Matthew Stafford, 16 of 27, 160 yards, zero touchdowns, zero interceptions. And Brock Purdy had one interception, and it proved costly in this game. Now, when we look at the Rams, now everybody in the NFC West has a chance at making the playoffs. The Arizona Cardinals, the Los Angeles Rams, and the Seattle Seahawks, all of them are tied with the amount of wins, 8 wins. So in the last 3 games, if two of those teams lose at least one or two of those games of their games, the third team, whoever it may be, whether it's the Rams, Seahawks, or Cardinals, might win that division outright. Because when we look at the Rams, we saw the Rams when it comes to their offense. They played against Buffalo, scored 44 points. This game versus the 49ers didn't have too much of a good showing, but they were able to win. And third down in this game was very, very critical, and it was very, very bad for both teams. 4 of 15 on third down for the Rams, 3 of 12 on third down for the San Francisco 49ers. Now, when it comes to, there was a player, Devondre Campbell. He walked off the field after, he walked off the field late in the third quarter. Found out yesterday that he is going to be suspended for the remaining 3 games of the season. So everybody is asking, what was the situation? What transpired? Why did he walk off the field? The reason why he walked off the field was because he didn't get the minutes that he was going to get. Now, before his teammate came back from injury, he was getting his minutes, his mandatory minutes and stuff. But then when his teammate came back Thursday and got prepped up for the game, and he played more than him, he walked off the field, and that is why he was upset. Now, everybody else, you had a couple teammates saying that was a coward move. You even had one of his teammates said it was some sucker shit on his behalf. And that is what he said, quote unquote, sucker shit. So when you look at that player, will he be able to get another contract with the team? I don't think so, because what he did, he's shown every other team in the NFL that it doesn't matter to me if I don't get the minutes that I'm supposed to be given. I'm going to just walk off the field. And when you are in a business setting, no matter what state of business, what field of business you are in, there are some days where you're going to have to take a back seat to somebody, and the other person might have a better day than you. And that's what was going on in this situation. So as far as Davion Greenlaw, he shouldn't have done that. It was a coward rule, especially on live different way. He didn't have to handle it that way. So that's all I have for the Los Angeles Rams, San Francisco 49ers. The next cover is the Kansas Homes and the Cleveland Browns. Now, the Kansas City Chiefs are 13-1 right now. They are 13-1. They are 6-1 on the road. When it comes to a place like this, you're 13-1. You have 3 games left. And what I'm thinking is if they win 2 of their next 3 easily, they will easily have home field advantage. Now, if the reason why I say that they are going to have to win the next 3, because the Buffalo Bills, they have the Jets twice, Patriots the last game of the season. And I believe that the Buffalo Bills will win all 3 of those games. Now, Kansas City Chiefs, they have the Pittsburgh Steelers coming up. They have the not San Diego Chargers, but they have Pittsburgh coming up, which will be their toughest remaining game on their schedule. Now, Kansas City Chiefs, I am not going to I have most of my chips on the table when it comes to the Chiefs, but like I said, it's just going to have to, somebody else is just going to have to show me that they can go into Arrowhead Stadium and knock off the Chiefs, because if the Chiefs have home field advantage, I'm penciling them in for the Super Bowl automatically, because we know that the offense is starting to come together. Marquise Brown, he's going to start playing as early as, I think, this week or next week. So you have Xavier Worthy, Marquise Brown, Travis Kelce, Juju Smith-Schuster, Isaiah Pacheco, and you also have a dynamic tight end. You have a dynamic tight end in Travis Kelce, and he always states that this is his time of year when it comes to the NFL playoffs. So, and we also look at the Cleveland Browns. Now, the Cleveland Browns, are they bringing back Deshaun Watson? Who knows? But if they don't bring back Deshaun Watson, who they gonna have? I mean, you can't draft a quarterback you can't draft a quarterback in this coming draft, because you spent you spent 4 draft picks to get Deshaun Watson. And I remind everybody that Deshaun Watson's contract, all of it is fully guaranteed. All of it's fully guaranteed, America. So he is going to get paid no matter what. So Cleveland Browns, they are having buyer's remorse right now. I can see that. Everybody can see it. And Patrick Mahomes, he's also said that he hasn't played up to his standard, which he really hasn't, because 19 of 38, 159 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. That is not a good stat line for him anyway. And then you have the rushing attacks. Chiefs had over 100 yards in the rushing game. Cleveland's rushing attack was they also had over 100 yards rushing in the game, but turnovers and penalties lost the game for the Browns. That's all, because the Browns, they were right there. And as you can, third down situation, thing, the Chiefs were slightly better than the Browns on third down, but the Browns, they have to do a organizational overhaul when it comes to as far as management decisions and as far as bringing top-notch free agents to play in Cleveland. Because for years, Cleveland has been one of them dumpster fire teams. They may have a good year or 2 years here and there, but as far as consistently, they don't have too many good years. They don't. They don't have too many good years. So as far as for the Kansas City Chiefs, they already know what they have to do. And the Cleveland Browns, what they need to do is get ready for the 2025 NFL draft. The next game I'm going to cover, is the, excuse me, wait a minute, excuse me. Game I'm going to cover is the Tennessee Titans. Now, one thing about this, Cincinnati Bengals, they are an average team. They have been an average team all season. For every NFL fan, we have got to investigate what goes on in the Cincinnati Bengals organization between April to September. Because in September, they do not start off the season fast at all in Cincinnati. Every year with this coach, it's been they start off 2-2, 1-3, or 0-4, or they start off, or they don't start off winless like they did this year. Started off winless and then had to fight their way back. And now they are in a situation where they needed Miami to lose, which they did. They needed the Broncos to lose every game for the rest of the season, which they won versus the Colts. And they also needed another team to lose another game. And I'm pretty sure that team won their game too. So Bengals are on the outside looking in. They might have a chance at making the playoffs, but if the Broncos and the other team that I mentioned on the other show had won all their games, the Bengals wouldn't even have a chance at making the playoffs. So now, Bengals, Joe Burrow, 26 of 37, 271 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Mason Rudolph, 21 of 26, 209 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. And like I said, Will Levis, like I said, I don't even need to talk about Will Levis. I done told everybody, America, I've told you all off season and even in the season that Will Levis is a turnover machine, and it proved me exactly right again when it comes to Sunday. 8 of 12, 89 yards, 3 interceptions. This man is a turnover machine. So, Tennessee Titan fans, is this what y'all banking on for the next 5 or 10 years with Will Levis? A turnover machine that will cost y'all games more times than not, because it's not looking good right now when it comes to the Tennessee Titans. And plus, according to the draft structure, the Tennessee Titans are 7th right now in the draft at the NFL draft chart. So now, when it comes to the Tennessee Titans, they need to. I'm gonna tell you what the Titans need. Will Levis, he needs to get in the he needs to get in the training room and get in the film room this offseason so he can combat his turnover ratio. Also, Tennessee Titans need a reliable running back, and they also need a reliable wide receiver and a good defense. Now they have a average defense right now, but in order to have a good defense and stay and stay pace with teams like the Cincinnati Bengals you just played, the Kansas City Chiefs, and teams of the upper echelon like that, they are going to need more stability at all of their positions, their most important positions. So now, Bengals, they won this game, third down efficiency, 10 of 13. Tennessee Titans, 5 of 8 on third down, and they lost the game. They 3-11, been out of the playoff chase ever since week 7. Next game I'm going to cover is the Washington Commanders and the New Orleans. And get into the controversy at the end of the game. Now, the referee, he blew his whistle when it was 15 seconds on the clock. The New Orleans Saints didn't have any timeouts. So the clock just stopped and then it started to run again. So it was a mental error for the referee on that call, because the clock should have still been running and the Saints wouldn't have had a chance to get a touchdown, go for 2, and potentially win the game. Now, Jayden Daniels, 25-31, 226 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And then you have for the Saints, as far as quarterbacks, you have Spencer Rattler, 10 of 21, 135 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Jake Haener, 4 of 10, 49 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. Cedric Wilson Jr., 1 of 1, 21 yards, 0 touchdowns. 1 touchdown and 0 interceptions. Rushing game for the New Orleans Saints was non-existent at 69 yards. The rushing attack for the Washington Commanders, it cracked over 100 yards, to be exact, 137. And you see their wide receivers, and basically the Washington Commanders this season, young up and coming team. I like what Dan Quinn is doing there. I like what I see from Jayden Daniels, Brian Robinson Jr. He is a bell cow running back, and he can shoulder the load when it comes to playoff situations. Now, if the bracket serves me right, as far as right now, if the playoffs started today, the Washington Commanders, they would be heading to North Philly to play the Philadelphia Eagles in the first round. So let's see how everything stacks up over the final 3 weeks of the regular season with the Washington Commanders. The Washington Commanders only have to win 1 of their next 3 games, and they will be in the playoffs. Currently, right now, they have a 89% chance at making the playoffs. So they are all but in the playoffs currently. Hopefully, they don't have a monumental collapse, because if they have a monumental collapse, then that opens up the door for, dare I say it, the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys right now currently are 6-8. If the Commanders lose their next 2 games and the Dallas Cowboys win their next 2 games, it will have a winner take all week 18 showdown between the Washington Commanders and the Dallas Cowboys. But the Dallas Cowboys, I can say, they have to play Philadelphia. Philadelphia is still on their schedule. So that's a huge domino that can fall either way. But as of right now, Washington Commanders hold their own destiny. And when it comes to Washington Commanders on third down, 9 of 17 on third down. Saints, 3 of 11 on third down. I said it throughout. The New Orleans Saints, they need to build their team through the draft, and that is what they are going to have to do. The next cover is the Baltimore Ravens and New York Giants, I'm going to just go ahead and get the New York Giants out the way. Tim Boyle, 12 of 24, 123 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Tommy DeVito, 10 of 13, 68 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. Subpar play from the New York Giants again, like it has been all season. The New York Giants are lucky that they aren't winless. They haven't won a game at home all season. The Baltimore Ravens, 9-5 right now. They control their own destiny. I don't know what it is, but in the playoffs, they need to give Derrick Henry the ball 20 to 25 times, and he needs to average about, I'm going to say, 150 to 200 yards every game in the playoffs, because it seems like some games, some games like this game, Lamar Jackson, he was 21 or 25, 290 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. He can have games like that. And then there are other games where he has a subpar game, and we're just wondering, when is he going to take over the game? Now, credit. This was against the New York Giants, and New York Giants have been down in the dumps all season long. But the Baltimore Ravens, playoffs are right around the corner. And if Patrick Mahomes can't get to the Super Bowl, it is going to be out of Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. Who is going to make it to the playoffs if the Chiefs are not able to make it down to the French Quarter in New Orleans for the Super Bowl? Who is it? From what I see, I'm going to say the Buffalo Bills, because the Baltimore Ravens last year, and they keep going back to last year when they say that when it comes to those type of games against upper echelon competition, one play here, one play there could be the difference. And it was like that last year in the AFC Championship game versus the Kansas City Chiefs. And in a few games that they have lost this year, I am going to say 3 of their 5 losses, it shouldn't be. They shouldn't have 5 losses, because 3 of those games, they were leading. The Baltimore Ravens were leading. 3 out of their 5 losses, they were leading late in the fourth quarter. Now, when you look at that, it goes back to the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. What do they be calling in the last 2 or 3 minutes of the games? What does the head coach, what does John Harbaugh be thinking in the last 2 or 3 minutes when it comes to the fourth quarter in those games? This is what we have to think about, America. When you put your bottom dollar down on the Ravens, you have to be very cautious, because you don't know whether Derrick Henry is going to shoulder the load in most of these games, or you don't know if Lamar Jackson is going to throw his way to a win. So that's all I have to say about the Baltimore Ravens. The next game I'm going to cover is the Dallas Cowboys and the Carolina Panthers. How about them Cowboys? Now, Dallas Cowboys, from what they have endured throughout the season, it's good that they are still fighting for a playoff spot this deep into the NFL season, because we know earlier on and halfway through the season, they were pretty much playoff spot was just all for naught. But now they are 6-8. They need a couple of teams. Well, basically, who they need to lose, they need the Washington Commanders to lose. They need the Washington Commanders to lose out, and the Cowboys win out, and they will make it to the playoffs. So now, as far as to get into the game, Bryce Young, I like what I'm seeing from Bryce Young. And I have a public service announcement to make to the Carolina Panthers organization. fans, and anybody else who is associated with the Carolina Panthers organization. You have your quarterback in Bryce Young for the foreseeable future. For the next 5 to 10 years, you will have Bryce Young, barring injury. Bryce Young just needed enough time to develop. Now he has developed into a quarterback. Now the Panthers, they need to get top-notch running back, top-notch offensive line, and a top-notch defense around Bryce Young. And not maybe, but they will be able to make a playoff push in 2 or 3 years. Bryce Young, this game, he had a good game. Stat-wise, 19 of 28, 219 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Those 2 interceptions proved costly. Cooper Rush, 18 of 29, 214 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Dallas Cowboys rushing attack, over 200 yards. Carolina's rushing attack was 106. Well, excuse me. It was only 60 yards. Carolina's rushing attack was non-existent. The wide receivers for both teams had a pleasant day. Also, both teams had fumbles. When it comes to fumbles, the Cowboys scored points off of those fumbles. The Panthers did not. So when it comes to third down situations, 6 of 12 for the Cowboys in this game. The Panthers, 3 of 11 on third down, just the same as their record, 3 and 11. Now, Cowboys, if the Cowboys somehow make it to the playoffs, you have to give Mike McCarthy a congratulations, because earlier on and halfway through the season, it was just a dumpster fire with the Dallas Cowboys. So, Panthers, get ready for the NFL draft in April. Dallas, win out and have the Commanders lose out, and they will be in the playoffs. So that's all I have to say about the Cowboys and the Panthers game. The next game I'm going to cover is the Jets. Now, New York Jets and Jacksonville Jaguars, both teams are in the same boat. Aaron Rodgers, 16 of 30, 289 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Mac Jones, 31 of 46, 294 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The rushing attack for both teams was basically about the same. Both wide receivers on teams had a good day. When it comes to turnovers, that was the reason why the New York Jets won this game. Turnovers, because Mac Jones threw 2 interceptions, and if he didn't have interceptions, possibly the Jaguars win this game. So, third down efficiency was subpar for both teams. New York Jets were 4 of 10. The Jacksonville Jaguars were 8 of 15. So, New York Jets, I'm hearing that Aaron Rodgers wants to come back for the 2025 season. But if I'm the New York Jets, you need to start building for the future, because after the 2025 season, you don't know what Aaron Rodgers might do. So what the New York Jets need to do is draft a quarterback in the first round. Maybe draft him in the second round. Let him build around Aaron Rodgers. And after next season, going into the 2026 season, he'll be able to shoulder the load for the New York Jets. But as of right now, the Jacksonville Jaguars, not spending too much time on teams that have subpar records and don't have a chance at making the playoffs. Now, The next game I'm going to cover is the Miami Dolphins and the Houston Texans. Congratulations to the Houston Texans on winning the AFC South for a second consecutive year. The Miami Dolphins, 6-8. You are currently on the outside looking in. You have to win your next 3 games to even remotely have a shot at the playoffs. Miami Dolphins, what hurt them was the Tua injury. That hurt them earlier on in the season. Week 3, week 4, he was injured and didn't come back until week 8 or week 9. And now they're fighting tooth and nail to get back into the playoff conversation. But when you lose a game here, game there, after coming out early in the season, not so hot, you lose a game here and there, you will be in a tough situation like this. And most of the time, teams that start out cold in the regular season end up on a cold streak. So the Dolphins, I believe that your season is over. I do. Houston Texans, start getting ready for the playoffs. Start printing out your playoff tickets immediately because the playoffs are fastly approaching. And with that, I'm going to give you all some statistics on this game. Tua Tagovailoa, 29 of 40, 196 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions. CJ Stroud, 18 of 26, 131 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. The rushing attack for both teams were basically non-existent. Wide receivers, they basically had a decent day. Third down in this game was basically it was a critical factor. Third down efficiency, 4 of 13 for the Miami Dolphins, 5 of 13 for the Houston Texans. So Miami Dolphins, what they need to do is build in the draft this year. Houston, what they need to do is build in the draft this coming April to have a better offensive line, because Houston, they are top 5 in most sacks allowed in the NFL this year. Heading into, you have a quarterback like CJ Stroud that likes to get out of the pocket. So when it comes to the Houston Texans, like I said, young, 2-3 years down the road, they will be right up there with the Houston Texans and the Houston Texans, Baltimore Ravens, and Buffalo Bills. Maybe the Houston Texans will be up there with those caliber of teams. But right now, they are just a young, up-and-coming team. And also, we have to look at the Denver Broncos, which leads into my next point. Now, during the preseason, I said that the Broncos would win 10 games this season. They've won 9 games so far this season. And everybody was asking me, Key Time, what are you talking about? Talking about the Broncos would win 10 games. I can tell y'all now, I've played sports and I've been following sports throughout my entire lifetime. And I know what I'm talking about when I say that a team will be able to win 10 plus games. And that's exactly what the Broncos are about to do. Now, they have a tough game coming up versus the Los Angeles Chargers on Thursday night. But like I said, it will be a close game. Now, let's go back to the Indianapolis Colts and Denver Broncos. Bo Nix, 20 of 33, 130 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I heard Bo Nix after the game saying that he know that he cannot turn over the ball that much going into the playoffs. Anthony Richardson, 17 of 38, 172 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. When we look at this game, the Colts 6-8, outside looking in, have an outside chance at making the playoffs. I don't think the Colts make the playoffs. So rushing attack for the Indianapolis Colts, 149 yards. Rushing attack for the Denver Broncos, 72 yards. Wide receivers had a decent day for both teams, but Denver Broncos have to do better. Third down efficiency in this game was something, but the Broncos were able to win this game off of the Indianapolis Colts turnovers and timely mistakes. And also the Colts, they fumbled the ball going into the end zone. Jonathan Taylor, what you have to do is, and this goes out to everybody, before you get into the end zone, if you want to showboat, hold the ball out and place the ball over the end zone line so they can make it a touchdown, because we are seeing this too much on a consistent basis where the player, but just before they get to the end zone, they let the, and in the playoffs, you will lose like that. Up a for sure touchdown, and also for sure touchdown, and it turning into a turnover and touchback. So the next game I'm going to cover is the Buffalo Bills and the Detroit Lions. If you woke up this morning and you are looking at the playoff picture in the NFC, you see all top three teams, Detroit, Philadelphia, and you also see the Minnesota Vikings. They all have a 12-2 record. So the number one seed in the NFC is not locked up just yet. It's between three teams. Who is the team that needs the home field advantage the most? I am going to say the Minnesota Vikings need home field advantage the most, because Philadelphia, I've been hearing speculation that there have been problems throughout the locker room ever since the season started when it comes to their passing game. Detroit, they have injuries galore. Their top running back is injured and out for the season. And the injuries for the Detroit Lions are just starting to pile up. And I don't think that the Detroit Lions will be able to make the Super Bowl. Now, this is shaping up well for the Kansas City Chiefs. It is, because we all know what Buffalo is going to do. We know what Josh Allen is going to do. Josh Allen had another 23 of 34, 362 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. We already know what the Buffalo Bills are made of, and we already know what the Detroit Lions are made of. Now, can the Detroit Lions at least keep it together, or will they have a monumental collapse coming down the stretch to end the season? Because let me tell you, for the last 4, maybe 5 games, the Detroit Lions have not been great on the offensive side or the defensive side. The Buffalo Bills, only thing I can say about the Buffalo Bills, if they can't knock off the Chiefs this time around, while the Chiefs are fighting through injuries, I'm hearing Patrick Mahomes, he is listed day to day. So what the Buffalo Bills need to do is, they cannot lose that. They probably won't lose another game, but they need to hope that the Chiefs lose another game so that they can get home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Because I keep on saying to everybody, if the Kansas City Chiefs get the field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs, there is nobody that is going to stop the Kansas City Chiefs at home. At home, there's nobody that's going to stop them. So, Buffalo Bills, they had eight possessions. 6 of those possessions were touchdowns, and the other 2 possessions they scored field goals off of them. The Detroit Lions defense had a tough day, allowing 48 points to a Buffalo Bills team that has won 5 straight games. Third down efficiency for the Buffalo Bills were 5 of 10. And the Detroit Lions' third down efficiency was 6 of 13. Both of these teams are in the, but Buffalo, they just show what they are made of, and Buffalo had the better day than the Detroit Lions. This game I'm going to cover, and this is the home stretch of the show. I have 4 other games to talk about, and then that will be it. I am going to start it off with the of Pennsylvania. It has been 59, almost 60 years since the Pittsburgh Steelers won a game in Philadelphia, and that still holds the same weight after Sunday's game. Pittsburgh Steelers couldn't do nothing on offense. Russell Wilson, 22, 128 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Jalen Hurts, 25 of 32, 290 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Saquon Barkley, he had 65 yards rushing. A.J. Brown, he had a good game. 8 catches, 110 yards, and a touchdown. Eagles, I keep hearing everybody in the media, and like I say, y'all already know, the media, they could take a few little a sound bite and just run with it. But me, I am not that kind of person. I am the kind of person, I need context on everything before I give it to you all, my audience. So now, when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles, what they do on the field has no impact of what has transpired off the field. What is going to get the Philadelphia Eagles in trouble is if you have their wide receivers coming off the field asking Jalen Hurts, man, throw me the ball when I'm open. The quarterback of the football team has a limited amount of time to get the ball out. After his second read, he's got to have the ball out. Most of the time, quarterbacks nowadays don't even have a chance to get to their third and fourth read. Only thing they need to know is they read the coverages. Now, who knows? Jalen Hurts probably saw the Pittsburgh Steelers lined up in a double safety blitz formation, or a cover 2 formation, or a cover 0 formation. Now, everybody that is wondering what cover 0 is, that is when the defensive coordinator of the opposing team send everybody and just leave the cornerbacks on an island. That's all it is. So for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I still have trepidation when it comes to their offense. Some games they can score 30 points, 40 points, in other games, just like this, they have trouble scoring touchdowns consistently in games. Now, Pittsburgh has Kansas City coming up against on Christmas Day, which will be next Wednesday. So Christmas Day, Pittsburgh Steelers play the Kansas City Chiefs. Will they be able to have the offensive output that they had versus the Cincinnati Bengals both times? Possibly, maybe not. But the Philadelphia Eagles, I believe that they have the best team in the NFC, and the home field advantage is theirs for the taking. But the Philadelphia Eagles, they have the type of team that they can go on the road and win a game. So that's why I say the Minnesota Vikings, they are the one team that needs home field advantage the most the most. So, third down efficiency for the Pittsburgh Steelers, 3 of 10. Eagles, third down efficiency, 10 of 17. So, the Eagles, they had an okay day as far as when it comes to their offense, but he's already said, and I like Jalen Hurts. He said there's always improvement. Just like I say on here, when it comes to my show, there's always improvement. There's always levels of improvement that we have yet to touch on this show, and that's also how the Philadelphia Eagles players feel. Now, the next game I'm going to cover is the New England Patriots and Arizona Cardinals. I don't spend too much time on this game, although I did watch it in its entirety. Drake May, 29 of, excuse me, not 20 of 23, 202 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Kyler Murray, 20 of 30, 224 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. I'm pretty sure everybody is saying, well, where did these points come from? I am going to tell you where the points came from when it comes to the Arizona Cardinals. James Conner had 2 touchdowns. Also, another thing, when it comes to those 2 touchdowns, a lot of that transpired in the fourth quarter with James Conner, those 2 touchdowns. And then after that, they had a touchdown in the first quarter, and then they just kicked field goals between the second quarter and third quarter. So that's where those 30 points came at for all those people who were wondering if you looked at Kyler Murray's stat line and wonder why he didn't have any touchdowns thrown or he didn't run for any touchdowns. So when it comes to the Cardinals have a chance at making the playoffs. The Rams have a chance at making the playoffs. And the Seattle Seahawks have a chance at making the third down in this game. Cardinals were 10 of 15. The Patriots were 0 of 6. And that is where the game was won and lost on third down. I always tell everybody, games are won and lost on third down, penalties, and turnovers. That's what it comes down to in these games late in December and in early January. The next game I'm going to cover is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They are in the playoff in the playoff bracket right now. They are currently the number 4 seed. So, Buccaneers, I believe that the Buccaneers will go on to win the NFC South. It was the Atlanta Falcons. I had the Atlanta Falcons starting at the start of the season, but the Atlanta Falcons they have been sputtering. I'm going to say that again. The Atlanta Falcons they have been sputtering throughout the season ever since the Atlanta Falcons won those games early in the season versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's just been all downhill from there. Baker Mayfield, he had a good game this game. 22 of 27, 288 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Justin Herbert, 21 of 33, 195 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. When it comes to the rushing attack for the Chargers, non-existent. Tampa Bay's rushing attack cracked over 200 yards. Receivers for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had a good game, and a good game for the Los Angeles Chargers. Los Angeles Chargers, they are the 5th seed in the AFC playoff picture right now. I believe that they stay there. They can't go no lower or higher. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I believe that if they win out, they will stay right where they are at. They can't go no lower or higher. because they are the second wild card, and currently the Minnesota Vikings are the first wild card. But the home field advantage throughout the NFC is up in the air between three teams: the Detroit Lions, Philadelphia Eagles, and the team I just mentioned, the Minnesota Vikings. The next I'm going to cover is the Bay Packers and the Seattle Seahawks. Now, the Seahawks a 38% chance at making the playoffs currently right now. Packers have a 92% chance at making the playoffs. So Jordan Love was spreading love all around the field. 20 of 27, 229 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Geno Smith, 15 of 19, 149 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. Rushing attack. Green Bay Packers rushing attack was they had 140 yards. Seattle's rushing attack barely cracked 80 yards. Seattle Seahawks, they have been a average to below average team all season. What can they do to consistently win games week in and week out? Now, before this loss, they won 4 games, but it's been like that with them all season. The first 4 weeks of the season, they were 4-0. Then they lost 3 games here. Then they won 2 games. And then they lost. They went on a 4-game winning streak, and now they have lost another game. So Seattle Seahawks, they don't have consistency in the playoffs. Well, coming into the playoffs, well, yes, going into the playoffs, you need consistency on a game in, week out basis. Seattle Seahawks just does not have that right now. So that's why I have them that will be watching the playoffs from home, just like all of us will be doing. Because if they lose another game and the Rams win and the Cardinals somehow win 2 more games, the Cardinals and Rams will make it to the playoffs, and the Seattle Seahawks will be going home. So now, that's all I have. Packers and Seahawks game. The next cover is both Monday night games, and that is before I get out of here. Now, for the Chicago Bears, we know the Chicago Bears are a dumpster fire. What the Chicago Bears need is a new offensive coordinator, a new head coach, and they need a better offensive line and a better running back. Caleb Williams, 18 of 31, 191 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. He had a good game. Sam Darnold, 24 of 40, 231 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Chicago rushing attack had cracked over 100 yards. Minnesota's rushing attack cracked over 100 yards. The wide receivers for Minnesota, they had a good game. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, T.J. Hockenson, Aaron Jones, Brandon Power, Trent Sherman, Jalen Naylor, Johnny Mundant. Johnny Mundant didn't have a pass thrown to him, but he was out there and he is a part of this stat line. So the Minnesota Vikings, like I've been, Vikings are tied with the Detroit Lions, Philadelphia Eagles for the best record in the NFC. They are a team that needs home field advantage. It's a must do without fail when it comes to home field advantage with them. Because if they don't, I'm not sure that Sam Darnold can go on the road in the playoffs in a winner-take-all battle and give you the games that he has been having all throughout this season. So that's all the Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings. The last game that I am going to talk about happened in Vegas last night. The Atlanta Vegas now. Kirk Cousins it's just going to be a matter of time before Kirk Cousins is shipped out of Atlanta, because even though they're not going to ship him out of Alabama, they're not going to ship him out of the ATL just yet, because if they ship him out, they are going to have a significant cap hit. So as of right now, Kirk Cousins is still the starting quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. He was 11 of 17, 112 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Las Vegas Raiders quarterback Desmond Ridder, 23 of 39, 208 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Rushing attack for the Raiders, non-existent, 65 yards. Rushing attack for the Atlanta Falcons, 168 yards. This game was basically the worst game of Week 15 because it didn't have any enthusiasm at all. And we know that the Raiders have been out of the playoff chase ever since ever since Halloween. They were out of the playoff chase. Falcons are still in the playoff chase. Now they are in danger of losing where they have lost the division lead, because they are second place in the NFC South. Like I've said, it's crazy because Buccaneers are first in the NFC South, but the Atlanta Falcons swept the Buccaneers both times. But like I said, when it comes to that, what they are going to go by is strength of schedule, and dare I say it, I know this is not college football, but quality wins. Since this is the NFL, everybody is asking quality wins. That's teams that the Falcons have beaten with a 500 win percentage or more. Now, who have the Falcons beat over that has a winning percentage over 500? They haven't beat too many teams. The most they have beaten is 3 or 4. So that's all I see when it comes to the Atlanta Falcons and the Las Vegas Raiders. Third down efficiency in this game was about the same. Falcons, they kicked field goals in this game throughout. The Raiders kicked field goals in this game throughout. Third down efficiency for both teams was about the same, 4 of 13 on third down for the Atlanta Falcons, and for the Las Vegas Raiders, 4 of 14 on third down for the Las Vegas Raiders. And with that, those are my reactions to Week 15 of the 2024 NFL season. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, click the notification bell to get notified of all of my reaction videos and other content. Also, please like, comment, and follow Key City Sports on TikTok. And remember one last thing, the key is always on time.